Hello friends, this is Satish Paryani, working as an assistant professor in Department of Mechanical, Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. Today, we will be discussing a very important concept for entrepreneur is make or buy decision. An entrepreneur comes into many issues, then he has to take whether his capacity is low, his capacity is more, whether he has to make it or buy it. So we will be discussing on that a decision making for entrepreneur for make and buy. Learning outcome. At the end of this session, students will be able to understand the basics of make and buy decision. The contents, what will be covered is the basics, the reason behind make or buy decisions, and a small example which itself is explanatory about make or buy decision. The company needs to make a decision about whether to do the project or product work themselves or outsource some of all the work. The cost involved in managing the procurement should be considered as a part of decision in addition to the direct cost of the product or service to be procured. The cost saving of the purchasing of a product or service may be outweighed by the cost of managing the procurement. Now I will explain you one of the example how this make and buy decisions come into picture. Now, as a procurement manager, a procurement person, or as an entrepreneur, you have to take the decision whether you have to make the product or buy the product. Now, let us assume, I was giving you a very small example. Consider this COVID situation itself. Now, you have aligned initially your capacities for, let us say, 1000 units per month. Means you are able to make it 1000 units per month. Now, as suddenly lockdown is lifted up, the back orders will say, let us say what we are currently facing the situations of semiconductors these days suddenly comes into picture, and there is a huge demand, and demand is almost the double, we will say. Let us say 20,000 they are asking for just initially for 4 or 5 months. I will say your customer is asking for 5 months, I will definitely give you order of 20,000. Now he is assuring only for next 6 months the capacity whether you will build up. That is one question. The second question is, what are the investment needed in this category over a period of time, whether I will be able to get different orders from different departments or different companies, whether I should invest it. These are the certain decisions we have to make it. Or is it possible that let I take the order and somebody else is having capacity involved, certain other companies having certain capacity as a buffer, and you are utilizing that capacity. Many OEMs are there for that work. So a long-term view is needed by an entrepreneur. He has to take decision whether he will make the product or buy the product. Let us say the case what I have discussing is for only 6 months. So definitely it is not feasible, or not, it is not feasible to work out. So he maybe go for buying 10,000 he will make it inside, and 10,000 he will go for outsourcing. So outsourcing comes into picture. What happens in outsourcing? The cost involved will be comparatively more. But when you think of the longer term, yes, only for 6 months, yes, you are satisfying your customers, you are fulfilling the orders. The only thing is you are definitely in the same rule. What is happening? Means we have to take the decision. So now we have the second line, the cost involved in managing the procurement should be considered. Now not only the procurement cost here is involved, the transportation we have to think. Let us say where our vendor company in the sense where the OEMs are placed, from where we are taking or outsourcing the part. What the transportation cost? Whether it is within our zone of 10, 15, 20 kilometers, whether it is somewhere around 100 kilometers or 500 kilometers, it depends. And what is the cost? Train cost is involved. Freight cost, which freight is involved? Road, railway, or air freight? We have to think in that way. So, as an entrepreneur, he has to take the decisions from different angles. He has to think not only long-term view or short-term view. In spite of satisfying being in this constrained zone, he has to satisfy his customers. So, direct cost and indirect cost also. What will do after if he take out take in manpower? Whether he will throw them away after project is over? He has to think that whether he has to take permanent basis or casual laborers, he has to take it. So the cost saving of the purchasing of a product or service may be outweighed by the cost of managing the procurement. So this similarly it happens in the software industry also. When the talent available is limited, but the projects, let us say these days everybody is having the shortage of talent in what is cloud. So they are going for small companies, they are giving the small companies the job, and small companies are doing for them and giving them back. Not only in manufacturing it is, but in software industries also, the entrepreneur, or he has to take the decisions, he has to take the call whether he will make it or he have to buy it, or he have to do the combination of both. It depends. We'll go further. Now, as I have told you in my previous slide, one of the main reasons to make or buy is to decrease the risk of the project constraint. It is better to make if you have idle plant or workforce. Now see, idle plant or workforce, here I will say the capacities. It is involved in the capacities. Let us assume the company is working for only single shift. So the second shift and third shift is idle for them in that case. So they have even your orders are more than utilizing all the three shifts, then you have to take the call. You have to take the call of buying it or outsourcing it, in the sense what I am telling. But if you are having the second shift and third shift as an idle, take the call, make that product. One more thing I will tell you. Many of in us be knowing the rule that in manufacturing industry will not be working for 10 continuous days. So if I'm having the order, and if I'm having the weekly off as a Saturday and Sunday, I can utilize that Saturday and Sunday, then give holiday on Wednesday after utilizing 9 days as per the government norms in India. So that Saturday and Sunday itself is a buffer created for us. The second most important thing is you want to retain the control. You have to retain the control. You have to retain the control in the sense when the organization itself is having work within their premises, they have more control compared to the outsourced part. Let us say a typical critical part is have to be taken decision. It is better to manufacture inside rather than outside. We have to retain control of such parts. Many of the things, like we have to say the design, the property, intellectual property rights has to be maintained. So in that case also we have to retain the control within insights. The third important is the work involves proprietary information or procedures. As I told you, if the certain norms or process has to be patented, then it is better to manufacture inside rather than to go outside. So these are max. And similarly, outside by the case is the reverse of that. Let us understand with one example. Now think what I am asking you. You are trying to decide whether to lease or buy an item for your project. The daily lease cost is $120 you have taken here. To purchase the item, the investment cost is $1,000 and the daily maintenance cost is $20. How long will it take for the lease cost to be same as the purchase cost? Means here we are finding certain break even. Think it. Hope so. This is a very simple example what we. But when you go to the industrial world, in the real sense, in the actual world, the calculations are little bit more tedious in that sense. Okay, we will go with the solution. And the answer will be D is equal to 10. How it comes? Please understand it. Let D is equal to number of days when the purchase and lease cost be equal. So from the previous example, $120D is equal to 1000, which is fixed, plus how many days it is working, the maintenance cost is on daily basis, plus 20D. So by calculating, we'll get D as a 10. So after 10 days, means minimum 10 days it will happen. So before that, we have to take the decisions whether it is to purchase, and after that, it is whether it has to take on lease. Means if it is less than 10, we have to take the cost. We have to understand that lease is better, and otherwise, purchase is better. Hope so you understand with great make and buy decision. We have taken references from these different books. Thank you.